Everybody, good morning. Mestre Sukuri, Capoeira Zoador Tokyo. Last week I made a video for my students and we put it on Capoeira Vivencia, and I thought I would make the video for my YouTube community also because we're all growing and learning together. I'm using my MacBook camera, so I know it's a little dark, but hopefully I'll be able to edit a little bit later. Guys, bear with me. This is going to be a long video, but I'll try to make it a little faster because the one in Japanese that's also on my YouTube I just put up is like 16 minutes. So I'm going to try to make this a little bit faster. Here we go. Today's video is things to keep in mind at the Capoeira Roda. Okay? Again, disclaimer, I am not the god of Capoeira. I don't know everything about Capoeira. These are just my opinions as a result of my experience in the Capoeira world, okay? First, do not stand or cross in front of the beating bow. The beating bow represents the symbol of Capoeira. It represents the spirituality, the history, the culture of Capoeira. And it's a lot to think that you're more than that. So, with humility, don't stand in front of the beating bow. Some people do. Some people kneel in front of the beating bow. I don't allow that with my students, and I tell them not to cross, even though sometimes they do. Guys, we're all human and we're learning, okay? But to do your best, try not to cover the beating bows. When you arrive to a Hada, do not just jump in. Always ask and find out who's in charge of the Hada and ask permission. This is what I teach my students all the time. If they say no for whatever reason, be humble, say thank you, and then either participate as an observer, clapping, singing the chorus, or leave. Capoeira Roda is like somebody's house. If somebody comes to my house, I expect them to respect my house rules. Same as if I go somewhere else. I've been to Rodas where they don't let me in, and I thank you very much. I don't start making pouty faces and getting all upset, okay? I'm not the god of Capoeira. Another thing, when we're exchanging instruments, in order not to break the flow of the music and the energy of the Roda, when my students exchange instruments, I teach them, please only exchange one instrument at a time. Imagine if you have 3 beating bows, 2 panderos, atabaki and agogo, and 1 beating bow, 1 agogo, 1 atabaki, change at the same time. It's half the band, okay? It's half the orchestra, half the bateria. So please, exchange one at a time, okay? So as not to make the music fall. And if possible, try to do it when 2 people are at the foot of the beating bow, kind of maybe when someone's doing something, singing a ladain or singing something to get started before the next 2 go, so as not to break the rhythm of the 2 people playing. Imagine you're playing a really good capoeira game, and then the music goes, half the instruments stop. Okay? It'll kill the energy of the Hada. So try to make sure that when people are playing, you're not exchanging instruments. Try. Guys, capoeira teaches as much about winning and building confidence as it teaches us about losing and being humble. Everyone gets a rasteira, everyone gets an entrada taken down, everyone gets kicked. Everyone. No one is better than anyone else in this situation. If something happens, don't jump back up on your feet and get all upset and angry and try to show that you're better than the other person. Be graceful, be accepting, and be humble. Like I always say, you know, if someone checks you, then acknowledge the check, or the person's gonna have to do it for reals the next time, right? If someone does a martelo check, and then I use the opportunity to just grab them and throw them to the ground, that's really uncool. So really try to acknowledge the check, or acknowledge that you were, you know, that somebody got you. Be humble. Don't forget to shake hands when you leave the Roda, or acknowledge the person after you play the game. This is crucial to keeping the fundamentals of Brazilian capoeira culture alive. If someone comes in on the game while you're playing and you're out, when it's done, at least, you know, acknowledge, thank you, obrigado, Estamos juntos. You know? Show that you acknowledge them. I see people, especially, you know, in Asia, because it's my main area, people will finish and just turn their back and walk away. This is highly disrespectful, not only to the other person, but to the Hada and to the people involved, okay? These are just my opinions, like I said, okay? Here's a little touchy subject, and I just did this in Japanese, so I'll do it in English. I've recorded 4 Capoeira CDs by myself, self-produced, and with different people helping, and the Mestre Vibe CD, which is like a Latin jazz with professional musicians. Since I arrived in Japan, I've been blessed that like my adopted families here, like a lot of professional Brazilian musicians, and they've given me a lot of father, uncle, aunt, auntie advice on how to do better music, especially and dance and everything. And I'm not at that level, which with a lot of these people are. And you know who you are. Tio, te amo. Papai, te amo. Todas as pessoas que me conhecem, né? And I've learned a lot of basic music understanding, right? I'm actually thinking about doing something special for everybody, so I'll get that to that later. What I'm going to talk about right now is, for example, simple musical understanding. I have people who come here and have been doing capoeira for 15 years and actually have no idea what they're doing. They're just copying something they were told to copy. A copy of a copy, and it degrades over time. So be aware of your quality. When you go to the Roda, it's not time for the people who want to play the instruments or lead. It's time for the people who can do it, right? Who can do it. Why? Because the Roda is not practice time, it's go time, it's do time. It's time for the people to lead the music who can do it. This happens a lot. A lot of people think they're a lot better than they are, and they lack timing, or they lack technique, or they lack what's going on with the bateria of the orchestra, right? We're trying to come together to create what I always call, what is capoeira music? Number one, music. So there are basic understandings of music, and I use the jazz jam. All the jazz players that come together to play jazz and just have a jam session, they have basic understanding of what they're doing all together. So we also need to do that because capoeira music's like a basic jazz jam session. Excuse me. Number two, you got to have the humility to say, okay, I'm not at that level, so I'm not going to go in there and mess up the music, okay? So you have to have a conscious and awareness that what's going on. Two, it's kind of along the same lines, be aware of your level to enter the Roda, unless the dono of the Roda is pushing you, or dono of the Roda is pushing you into the Roda to do something. For example, take the new student, which I do a lot because they want to go, but they're nervous or embarrassed or shy or whatever. What I do is, if like, for example, if I got like Formado Pantera, Professor Jacaré, if they're playing and the Roda's just on fire, right? It's on fire. Don't just jump in there and you don't really have that level, because it brings down the energy of the game. Wait until that the next two people at the Pé do Birimbau are ready to go, and then you can restart. Then it can be a different level of capoeira. But I don't really like it, for example, if a new person cuts in to play with somebody after 3 people have been playing really hard and really fast. It's like kind of throwing a wrench into the works, right? Because it's going. Next person comes in, it's going. Next person comes in, it's going. Then the next one, and it just jams it up. These are just my opinions, but I think it keeps the Roda more dynamic and people need to be aware of what's going on, because the Roda is about everybody, not just about you. Remember, the music can only speed up, it cannot slow down, right? If I'm like, Paranae, Paranae, Paraná, Paranae, Paraná. Can't slow it down. Guys, you have to learn to speed up the music and keep the intensity, okay? That's a no-brainer. Here are a couple of points from my last video. I did it for my students, and I got it from a video in Portuguese. And one simple point is, don't misuse the Iuna rhythm. Mestre Bimba's Academia, they used 1 birimbau to do Iuna. Maximum 2, Mestre Top 1 in a video, he said, maximum 2, it's the call and response of the 2 birds. more than two, then it just kind of gets messy. I was speaking in Japanese about how interesting it is. Like I was at an event with Professor Jacare years and years ago, and they didn't follow these simple rules, and there was like 5 people playing beating bow at the same time because they all wanted to show off what they could do. Not one person was aware of what anyone else was doing, and I joked, 5 beating bows were playing 8 rhythms at 8 different speeds with all variation. It was just anarchy, as my uncle says, and it was really like, it hurt to listen to. Like I said, I'm not the best person. You can listen to my CDs, my music's on YouTube and everything, and you can judge for yourself. But I am on a process of a learning experience and keeping the humility to keep learning and to try to do better and better and better, okay? So I'm just adding points and sharing my experience so people can forego my mistakes. Last one. Don't forget, you don't just sing anything. A lot of times people sing just because they want to sing, but it's better to match the singing to the Hada. And I say this only because last Sunday we were at an event, and it's been a while, right, because of COVID. And there was a lot of Brazilians at this event, and I love it when there's a lot of Brazilians because when I sing, I know they're going to understand what I'm singing. And I started singing about being in Tokyo. I started singing about, capoeira, 23 years here, what it feels like for us to be here as foreigners. And you could just see eyes sparkling, gleaming. And it was an exchange of ashe and energy between me and the people listening who understood. So I've always said this example, right? I was at a roda with kids, and somebody started singing Zum Zum Zum, Capoeira Mata Capoeira kills someone. If that's okay, I'm not the owner of that roda. Respect, do what you got to do. I try to communicate as best I can to people what the basic meaning of the music is and the singing and when to use it, right? If we lose this part of capoeira, then we really lose the Brazilian capoeira culture. And for me, this is what ideally keeps me, attached to capoeira. Guys, again, thank you for your time. This is just my opinion and some ideas to help with. I wanted to make this because my students are just amazing, and I wanted to be able to put something out there. Don't forget to like, subscribe. I'm not really trying to get to like 1 million people, but I'm hoping to get up to 1,000 and be able to use my YouTube live, okay? Guys, have a fantastic day. Lots of love, lots of peace, lots of capoeira. Mestre Sukuri, Tokyo, Japan. Capoeira Zoador.